Hi, this is Born in 62, I'm Henrik Jøs. Today we'll be talking about the straight punch. One of the most basic punches, and a punch that is found in almost every martial arts around the world. The straight punch, as the name implies, travels a straight line from where your fist was when it started out until it hits the target. The straight punch I'll be talking about today will be the straight punch you will find in Western boxing, in Thai boxing, kickboxing and in karate. That means your hand ends up like this, with the back of your hand facing upwards, the two knuckles here being the point of impact, and your wrist is completely straight. In Kung Fu, Wing Chun, you have other straight punches. It goes more like this, and I'll cover them in future videos, but today I'll talk about this one. What is one of the differences between the two punches is that you rotate your shoulders somewhat inward, meaning that your elbows, if they don't stick out to the side, but they come out to the side instead of pointing downwards like this. You should always end up like this, with the back of your hand pointing upwards. That is a clean straight punch. That is the way it's delivered. The hand is curled up like this. You make a fist like this by first curling up the four fingers and then putting your thumb out here. Your thumb shouldn't be in here, or it shouldn't be sticking up like this for obvious reasons. So always keep it here to the inside. The two knuckles should form a straight, completely straight line down your hand. They shouldn't be like this or like this, but like this. Seen from here, there should be a complete straight line here. Your hand shouldn't be like this or like this, but like this, always. A way to ensure that you always keep it like that is doing push-ups on your knuckles. I'll return to that in a future video. So, a straight punch travels a straight line, and if you look at videos or television shows of MMA, boxing, whatever, you'll see that even professionals sometimes have a hard time punching in a completely straight line. What you see is often a little bit of a loop to the punch. And a looping punch can be good because it can cheat the opponent. You can loop it around a parry or something like that, if that was meant to be. But if you're actually meaning to deliver a straight punch, it should be straight. And you use the least energy and delivers the most energy to the target by punching in a completely straight line. If your hand is like this in a fighting position, or like this in a training position like you see in karate, you should imagine that your hand is a projectile, a bullet, traveling through some invisible gun barrel, and it rotates. In karate, when you're as a white belt introduced to straight punches, you will be put in a position much like this called sanshin-dachi. As your feet is rotated inwards and your hips are kind of locked, you are not able to really use your hips for punching. All the force you use comes from above your core, above the middle of your body. You are punching like this. There are several benefits to that, but also some drawbacks. One of the benefits is that your center line is completely forward towards your target, and everybody who knows anything about fighting will say, well, this is not the right way to do it. But by standing like this, the teachers, your instructors, the senseis will ensure that you becomes equally good at pointing with your left hand and your right hand, because there will be no difference. If you grow up, so to speak, in a boxing society, they will determine whether you are right-handed or southpaw, and there will be a big difference between your front hand and your rear hand, and your front hand will be a jabbing hand and your rear hand will be for power. But as the fight moves on, your rear leg or your front leg may be hurt and you have to switch stances, or you have to switch stances for other reasons. And then suddenly you end up with a rear hand that has no power because you had always used it for jabbing. So the karate style ensures that you can deliver straight punches with equal force for both your left side and your right side. That's a benefit in my opinion. Also, you learn to be precise. You will stop your punch out here and the instructors will come around and they will correct you if you are not doing it right. Some schools teach you to point, to punch at the same point in front of you. So your left hand, your right hand ends up the same place. Some schools will teach you to punch at two different places, one for the left and one for the right. In my opinion, it doesn't matter much. What they are teaching you is to be precise, and I'm a sucker for precision. So by learning the straight punches from a locked position like this, you'll learn to use each hand, right and left, equally well, and you'll learn precision. What you'll also learn is to deliver the punches untelegraphed, meaning that you do it the same way all the time. Sometimes in a fight you see people retract the hand like this and then punching. By retracting your hand, it's visible, you're telegraphing what you're doing. You may add a little force, but on the other hand, what good is force for you if the opponent has moved away because he can see the punch coming? By standing like this, you learn to fire off your punch with no preparation, no back movement before you punch. So there are some benefits to this Sanshin Dachin style. On the other hand, anybody can tell this is not fit for fighting, because if you stand like this with your hips locked, you're not able to deliver much force. Also, you're standing in a very shitty position with your center line exposed and you're not able to move very well. So in a real fighting stance, you'll be standing like this. I've done a video about that before, you can see it here. And from here, your hands will probably be moving like you are. But again, when you come to this point, you should be able to punch without telegraphing. That means that if you use your front hand, you shouldn't go and then punch. You should just fire it off from the point where you are. And I would recommend that every time you warm up, you find that Sanshin Dachin and do punches like this for maybe 5 minutes to correct your precision, to train each hand equally well, and then move into a fighting position that's more appropriate and learn to deliver the punches with your hips. When you punch with your front hand, the movement is somewhat smaller but also quicker. This is called the jab in boxing, and you will deliver it by rotating your hip a bit forward like this and punching straight out into the face of the other guy. When you use your rear hand, you'll be able to move your hip a little bit more, thereby creating more power, and you will punch like this forward. You can see the hip move here. And all the power actually comes from your feet, from your hips, your legs, up through the body. So the Sanshin Dachin ensures that you can punch, and you can learn to punch really hard without using your hips. But in real fighting, you need your hips and you need that rotation. And that rotation, besides giving you powerful strikes, also let you master up your next strike. If I move my hips forward like this, when I use my front hand, I have actually moved my rear hand back a bit. So that power I need for that shot comes from the X rotation here. When you train this, either by yourself or with someone else, always keep your hands up. Don't let them drop down and start punching like this, because then your head is exposed, and every time you punch, the other guy can punch too. And if the guy you're fighting is a good counter puncher, a good counter boxer, you will hit the floor sooner or later. So keep your hands up in the fighting position and try to deliver the punches without telegraphing them. So go like this. When you use the punching bag, always ensure that you move back and forth, and I'll show you that in a minute. When you punch the bag, you shouldn't be out in a distance and just hitting it like this, because there'll be no power. You need to come into the back and move the back, otherwise there'll be no power on your shots. So every time you deliver a punch, be in as close so you can move the back. You should feel the back moving, otherwise you're just, like Donald Duck on the surface on the back. You need to deliver impact into the back. On the other hand, you should always move out again. So all the time when you're working the back, get out into distance number 1, where you can't touch the back with either your feet and kicking or your hands, or distance 2, where you can kick the back but not strike it. And then do a short shuffle into a striking distance and fire off your shots. Back and forth, back and forth. When you move backwards out away from the back, try to create an angle. Do a little sidestepping, not much. You don't need a lot of sidestepping, you just need maybe 10 or 15 centimeters that will create an angle and you'll get away. You can build up an entire workout by just doing straight punches. They're normally called 1-2, so you start with your front hand, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. All the time moving in and out, circling around the back, creating small angles, punching and punching and punching. In karate, when I first learned this, we was doing 3 different heights. We were punching at the groin, at the midsection and in the head. Well, the midsection and the head can be punched from an upright position. If you're going to punch low, I would suggest that you do like you see in Western boxing, where you actually drop your hips and punch down here and then come up again. So this can be done, but it's not nearly as powerful as dropping down and delivering the punch from here. So if you want to work this and you want to have a good workout, circling the back, getting in and out, don't just stand there in front of the back, bam, 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 but deliver 1-2 and get out, get in again from a different angle, sometimes drop down and come up again. That's the way to do this. In future videos I'm talking more about the footwork work, about creating the angles and so on. But right now, if you're going to train the 1-2 punch, start out with this peculiar stance to get the same amount of strikes for your right hand and your left hand, be equally good with both. And then after you warm up, start to circle the back and determine if you're left-handed, your right hand should be in front. If you're right-handed, your left hand should be in front, and deliver those 1-2s. Most of the time, I'll say 80 to 90% of the time, start out with your front hand with a jab and then follow up with a straight right, the rear hand. But sometimes mix it up. Do a little sidestepping, roll over and punch with your rear hand first and then with your front hand afterwards. This is just the beginning. In future videos I'll talk much more about this, because there's a world about, there's a whole world about all the footwork and all the details you can do here to be better and better at punching. So this was pretty basic. I'll get back to you soon with more videos about how to work the punching bag and how to create some good fighting fitness. Hi.